Well, happy holidays, everybody, and Merry Christmas. I am working on this 412 speaker cabinet, and I am going to give a little description of what I'm doing here. So, I knew from testing out this speaker cabinet that there was something in the connections that wasn't working. And so you can see on this jack plate right here, well, that's handy. It's 8 ohms. So, you know, you've got your 4 ohm cabinets, 8 ohm and 16 ohms. 4 ohms will get like more output. 16 ohms will get less output. 4 ohms will, pull power through the amp and make it louder, but 8 ohms is good because it the amp tends to last longer. So this thing is wired up. It's got 4 8 ohm speakers, and the total impedance of this cabinet is 8 ohms. So what I did was I pulled the back off of this thing and I did a diagram just showing how the wiring really is. So you see this diagram right here. You've got your 2 plugs and then the speakers, and then I've drawn out physically what the wires are doing. So I can take that and then I kind of can help me understand first of all just what the situation is and everything. And so I take that sketch and I look at it and then I draw a better, more sensible version. So what you see is with 2 8 ohm speakers, the impedance combined comes to 16 ohms right here. But the way these are wired, this is going to divide by the number of speakers. So you've got 32 ohms divided by 4 gives you a total impedance of 8 ohms, and that's how that works out. And you can plug into either side because they're branched off like that. And so I realized there was an issue with the wiring, and the soldering was like okay, not amazing. But what I realized pretty quick was it's got these little those little blue plastic connectors right there for the kind of the main power input, and I really think those are the problem. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the wire and I'm actually going to solder on it, and then I'm going to make a connection further out here that's also soldered. That way I'm not going to have to worry about that connection giving me a problem. So this is just kind of to show you what I'm doing on this. There's influencers that talk about saving money, and this is one way you can save money, is by learning how to either build speaker cabinets your own or repair your speaker cabinets yourself and not have to pay other people. But I haven't really been able to use this cabinet because of this electrical issue. And another side note is that I could wire this thing in stereo. I could hardwire it, so I've got like 2 16 ohms per side. There's maybe some other options, or I could wire it to where it's got 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Most people don't do that, but yeah. So anyway, I think the speakers themselves are just fine. It's just that the wiring wasn't really done to be reliable. So one of the first things I've done here is I've removed these little zip ties using these right here, and I've also used those cutters to cut these main leads. Kind of favored this part right here. And so what I'm going to do next, I'm going to be using this tool right here to remove some of the insulation on this end of this wire and on that end of that wire. So you can see what I've done here is I've used the tool to remove the insulation off those, and I've removed the insulation of these two wires. So in part of this package that I keep all my electrical tools, I've got this package with zip ties. These are a little large, but they'll work. You know, it's good to be able to put zip ties back on this stuff when it's done. These connections like this, these are just not good for your main power connections to speakers. I'm looking at this thing and I'm seeing like wood glue or something on this. I mean, because they were building it very fast, probably. I don't know. It's weird that there's wood glue on this connection, but what happens is they get corrosion on there, and that really messes up the electrical connection. So it's really better to have a soldered wire run into that post right there. And I mean, what I'm seeing in this wiring is that it was just done like fast as possible. So yeah, here's a brief overview of the wiring. I finished soldering these wires. So the first thing I did was I did this black wire onto that one and the red wire on there, and then I soldered these back together and just put tape around them, and then I went back in with the zip ties. You can see the zip ties. So this is how this is gonna fit. But nice thing about this little wood thing here, it holds the lamp. So you know, some challenges with soldering on these is that the magnet is always trying to pull the soldering iron over to the side, and like that's kind of one reason that they, you know, use those clip connectors. But as they move around, they get to where they don't make a good connection anymore. And so then another thing too is that sometimes you'll get little chunks of solder down in the speakers. So what I'll do is I just run my finger around like that and kind of feel if there's any chunks of solder in there. And one thing you can do a shop vac and vacuum those pieces of solder out. But I don't have a shop vac with me at the moment. So now we've got this whole thing all soldered together, not relying on any of the clip connections. And I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, if I've got the problem solved. So thanks a lot.